Good afternoon. As promised, I'm bringing you a vlog about the tour of the Mason Templar Lodge that I took today in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. The lodge's name is George Washington number 143. It's over 200 years old. The cornerstone was set in 1823, and the charter for it was started in 1816. I got this opportunity. I asked, I emailed, and they said, sure, without a doubt, come in, no problem. You can record, you can ask questions. And I told a couple soldiers that I work with, a couple fellow soldiers that I work with that are from Puerto Rico about this. And apparently masonry in Puerto Rico is huge. So they asked if they could come along, of course, and bring their families. And so it was a good experience. It was a fun experience. The mason who gave us the tour was a master mason, very knowledgeable. When we asked questions, he answered them. Better than the best of his ability. He really answered our questions. And at the end of the actual video, I'll do a little bit of the question. I'll give some questions that I asked, because I was interested. I love this stuff. and I didn't want to get all conspiracy theorist on him. So I just taper down my questions and let him not only give the tour, but let him answer my questions, or answer everybody else's questions too. So yeah, over 200 years old. I also wanted to find a connection between the Kennedy estates and the Freemasons in Chambersburg, because there's 3 or 4 people who own the property who were permanent members of Chambersburg society and had something to do with the upbringing of Chambersburg as a city or a town. And I wanted to figure out if they're Masons, because I know Masons were always prominent figures in society during the 17, 18, and 1600s. So I didn't find it. I couldn't find the answer for that one. I'm still looking for it. But it was good times. I had a great tour, a lot of history, and I got a lot of pictures. Didn't get that much footage, so yeah, because I was more interested in the tour and asking questions, but I did get footage, and I got pictures. So this is it. Mainly Dig Out. Subscribe, like. Thank you. This is the original lodge room. How old is that?
I'm not sure. Tell the truth. This lodge had like a cornerstone, right? Mm-hmm. How you call it? Like that time capsule? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's down. Can you see it? Up. That's original. That's original. That's original.
Oh, this is original.
Antlers, gowns, aprons.
You need a closet for hats. Always. You need a cabinet for hats. Swords. Original charter.
See that dimple? See that dimple? These goes on the dimple like that. It kind of helps to hold it.
Yeah.
But this square is very old.
That is awesome.
And you can see how wore it is. But we use this for our degree work.
So I wrote down a bunch of questions that I wanted to ask because I had so many questions, but I also wanted to stray away from any questions that would conspiracies, because there's a lot with Freemasonry. There's a lot. I just wanted simple answers, so I asked simple questions. I didn't want to be insulting, so these are some of the questions I did ask. The lodge, how do they name the lodges? Because George Washington is a pretty big name, and they get a panel of the higher Masons, and they decide what to name the lodge. It could be the street that it's on. It could be named after a certain individual. For instance, there's one, I think it was in Mississippi or Alabama. I was looking online, and it's named Long Street, which everybody would think Long Street, the general in the Civil, or the officer in the Civil War, which he wasn't a Freemason, but I guess they had long streets or whatever. But anyway, so like all the higher Masons take a vote, and that's what they name the lodge. I also asked because what I was trying to get at is the Knights of the Golden Circle, because that's what I want to know about. But I didn't want to come out and say, were you guys a part of that, or the Masons a part of that? So I asked about the Civil War and because I did want to know how the Civil War affected Freemasonry. And his answer was really good, and again, broad but good. I mean, every lodge has their own views, has their own perspective. The rituals are the same, but just like anybody, like everybody, everybody is different. Everybody sees something differently. So I did ask him about the Knights of the Gold Circle and how it's related to Freemason. And in my own words, that what he said is it all depends on the lodge, and how they interpret the rituals of Freemason, the rites, Masonry in general. Like, it's how they interpret it. I asked about the lodge and the temple, the difference between a lodge and a temple. A lodge is where they meet. The temple is kind of where a lodge and the temple are the same thing, is what he said. Also asked about the owners of the Kennedy estate, how many were Freemasons. He couldn't tell me offhand, but he said the previous owner in the 40s, which was the current owner's father, was a Freemason. So that's pretty cool. I thought that was cool. Also, General James Chambers, which is Benjamin Chambers' son. Benjamin Chambers is the founding father of Chambersburg. He formed the first lodge in Chambersburg, which was in the 1800s. But yeah, that's so many questions. The Master Mason answered all of them. And like, Masons have a way of answering questions like no other. If it's a question that's a harder question that they may not be able to answer, they'll answer you, but they'll say, hey man, I don't know. I don't really know. But they have a different way of saying it. I'm not saying this guy didn't know it. I'm just saying, like, that's from my past experience dealing with Masons. They'll give you a knowledgeable answer, is what I'm saying. I had a really good time. It was a really good tour. Hopefully I'll go on a paranormal vlog tonight, watch that. I'm going to try to get this video out before I leave. Mainly dig out. Y'all have a good night.